Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am sharing a BetterPress project with brand new products from the delightful release from Pinkfresh Studio. And I wanted to share with you that you can use BetterPress plates with a lot of the inks that you may already have. Specifically today, I am going to be using dye and pigment inks, but this kind of came up at an in-person event that I was recently at, and people were asking, do I have to buy brand new inks to use the BetterPress or the press plates? And the answer is no, and I'm going to show you that today. I'm going to be using this Amazing Things product suite from Pinkfresh Studio, brand new and available today, as well as the brand new diagonal plaid press plate. Now, I'm going to be using the BetterPress letterpress technique today with these plates, but keep in mind that all BetterPress plates or press plates can be used with your Glimmer hot foil system or other hot foil system to give you hot foil stamping as well. Now, you cannot use hot foil plates with the BetterPress system, but you can use the BetterPress or press plates with a hot foil system. So it's kind of a one-way street on that, but I'm going to show you some basic BetterPress technique today. So I've started with the diagonal plaid press plate on my BetterPress platform, and that's a magnetic platform there. And I am going to use some standard dye ink. This is Pinkfresh Studio Sun-Kissed dye ink here. And I'm going to ink up the press plate on the platform with this ink. Now, I also have some cardstock taped to the platen of the BetterPress system, and I am going to run that through. Now, this cardstock measures 6 by 6 inches, and it is actually a watercolor cardstock so that I get a deeper impression. Now, Spellbinders, which is the manufacturer of the BetterPress system, also has a BetterPress cardstock. It's a really luxe cottony cardstock, so you can try this technique with that as well. Now, on this first pass, because I am using a watercolor cardstock, I didn't get a great impression. So I went ahead and left everything in place, re-inked that plate, and then ran it through my die cut machine again. And this is pressing that ink into the cardstock, and you can see I got a really beautiful result. Now, these few pieces that I'm creating here at the beginning, I'm not actually using in my final card project, but I wanted to show you how the brand new plaid press plate and diagonal plaid press plate, whoa, that's a mouthful, from Pinkfresh Studio work. So I've gone ahead and pressed this onto my cardstock. Now I'm turning my cardstock a quarter turn, and I'm going to clean this up because I'm going to do what's called a blind emboss or no ink press onto my second press of this cardstock. So this time I'm not inking up the plate, I'm cleaning it off. I've turned my cardstock a quarter of a turn, and I've placed that platen back onto the chase of the BetterPress platform. And then I ran that through. Now, you can't really see it in the video, but I have a diagonal pattern pressed into that. Now, because you couldn't see that blind press so well, I wanted to show you this one more time, and this time I'm going to use a couple of colors of Pinkfresh Studio ink to create the full plaid effect. Once again, I'm using a 6 by 6 piece of watercolor cardstock. This is the Pinkfresh Studio watercolor cardstock. It is coming soon. It's not available yet, but it's coming soon. And I'm going to ink up my press plate here with the Peach Fuzz ink. So I'm just pressing this ink cube all over the surface of the press plate. Now, I do want to point out this is a standard dye ink, so this is not a specialty ink. I'm just inking up my plate really well, and because these BetterPress or press plates have a special coating, that ink is able to transfer onto the surface of the plate and then transfer onto your cardstock. So that's my first time running this through. Now I'm going to remove that cardstock, and I'm going to turn it a quarter of a turn. And then I am going to re-ink the BetterPress plate that's on the BetterPress chase here. And I am going to run it through my die cut machine again. So you can see I'm turning this a quarter of a turn. I'm going to hold it in place onto the platen of my BetterPress system. So that clear part is called the platen, and the bottom part is called the chase. So I'm just holding this in place. I like to kind of put the platen upside down onto that chase while I'm lining up my cardstock so that I can make sure that it covers the entire area of that press plate beneath. And then I can go ahead and re-ink my press plate again. I have left it in the same place this entire time on that chase. It's magnetic, so it stays in place really well. Then I will replace the platen right onto that chase. It's magnetic, so it locks right into place. And I'll run this through my die cut machine. Now keep in mind the techniques that I'm doing with ink today, you could convert those over to a hot foil technique and get hot foiled results using this exact same plate. So you can see I have my beautiful pressed plaid design. There's a little bit of a deboss that happens with these press plates because it's actually pressing into the cardstock. So now I'm going to grab my Amazing Things press plate set. This is brand new in the delightful release from Pinkfresh Studio. And I'm placing this large floral image kind of centered up on that A2 design of the magnetic surface of the chase there. It's going to stay in place. And now I'm going to take the platen and I'm just going to kind of flip it over. You see how all of those registration lines line up. And I'm going to use some Best Ever craft tape. This is from Spellbinders, but you could use a repositionable adhesive of your choice. And I'm going to hold my cardstock in place within those A2 registration marks. This is going to help me kind of get this centered up on the cardstock. But in the end, I'm going to be die cutting this, so it's not super important where it's positioned on the cardstock. Now I'm going to take some Misty Coast dye ink. This is a standard dye ink from Pinkfresh Studio, and I'm going to ink this up. Now, I really wanted like a very soft outline for this floral image. So if you wanted to do something darker, you definitely could. But I just wanted to show you that I'm having great success with these press plates with all of the different dye inks that I've tried. Now, once I have the press plate inked up, I'm going to place the platen with the paper side facing the design of the press plate onto the chase, and I'm going to run this through my die cut machine. And when you run that through your die cut machine, the little kind of springy magnetic feet press the paper down onto that inked press plate and leave you with an impression, and a colored inked impression, I should say, of the press plate beneath it. Now, I should mention I used watercolor cardstock for this as well. And now I am using a waffle flower grip mat to hold both my cardstock and my layering stencils in place as I add some color to this image. So I am using the soft lilac, the coral reef, and the candy violet colors to add color. On stencils 1 and 2, I started with the soft lilac and just added a little bit of that coral reef to the base of those petals. And then on stencil 3, I used the soft lilac and then added just a tiny bit of the candy violet to the base of the leaves. And you can see I'm just kind of blending over this image. I did go back and add just a tad of candy violet to the second layer as well. And for the leaves, I used sage and eucalyptus to add the color there. Now, once I have this all inked up, I'm going to go ahead and die cut it using the coordinating die cut. And you can see I have this beautiful pressed image of this floral. Now, I went ahead and used the die to die cut some plain white cardstock a few more times, and I'm going to stack these up to give this die cut flower some dimension and really give it some weight and presence on the front of the card. I think this is really a fun thing to do to add dimension and to kind of add some weight. These really hold weight when you stack them up in a different way than when you use like foam adhesive. So I'm going to stack those layers behind it, and then I'll place an acrylic block on top while those layers dry and kind of set up. Now, you saw me use the diagonal plaid press plate earlier in the video, but I'm not actually using those backgrounds in this card project. So instead, I am going to take some of this really beautiful, this is called, I think, Mountain Mist cardstock, and I am going to use a white pigment ink. This is the Calico white from Pinkfresh Studio to ink up my press plate. Now, I like this white ink pad because it's a little firmer than some of the other pigment ink pads on the market. So it just kind of has a firmer touch. I'm going to ink this plate up with that Calico white pigment ink, replace the platen onto the chase, and then run this through my die cut machine. And this is going to give me a really soft tone-on-tone look for these stripes. Now, I'm not going to rotate this 180 degrees because I just wanted those soft diagonal stripes on this paper. Another option for this would be to use the white foil that Spellbinders makes to create a hot foiled impression onto this cardstock in that white foil. But I really loved the softness of this pigment ink on this soft green cardstock. And now I'm going to start kind of building the pieces of my card project together. I decided I wanted a little bit of gold cardstock, and here I have it on both sides. I actually just cut a strip, and I am going to add it to just the right side of this quote unquote pattern paper that I created with that press plate and pigment ink. And you can see I also have a circle die cut there. I use the Pinkfresh Studio Folk Edge circles to create that die cut circle. And now I'm just going to kind of layer everything up and adhere it all together. So I'm using tape runner adhesive on the back of this striped paper that I created, and I'm adding that strip of gold cardstock to where it peeks out on that right side. I actually have it turned upside down. And then I'm going to use some tape runner adhesive again on the back of this entire thing and adhere it to my A2 size card base. So this is a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card at its finished size. To create my card base, I cut my cardstock to 5.5 by 8.5 inches and then scored it at 4 1/4. Now I'm adding this folk edge circle on using some foam adhesive, and I'm just going to grab my beautiful floral piece to kind of hold it in place to make sure I get this positioned where I can add that floral onto the bottom and my leaf isn't going to like stick off the edge. Then I added some liquid glue behind that floral piece and adhered it to that circle. And for this part, I used the basic banners die set from Pinkfresh Studio to die cut some gold cardstock. And that sentiment there was also created with the Amazing Things press plate set. So I pressed that into some cardstock and stacked it up a couple of times with some plain white cardstock. I'm finishing the card off with some clear droplets from Pinkfresh Studio, and that completes my BetterPress or press plate card today, featuring both dye and pigment inks on this press plate. You can see I have beautiful results with both types of inks. So if you're jumping into BetterPress and you're not sure what kind of inks to try, I really encourage you to try some of the inks that you may have already in your stash, because I'm finding that this system works with a variety of different types of ink. And keep in mind, these press plates are so versatile because you can use them not only with the BetterPress system, but you can use them with your foil system to create foiled images and backgrounds as well. Now, as always, I will have links to the featured products used in this project in the description at YouTube. So if you're looking for something in particular, be sure you check there. Or you can head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. I'll have that linked below as well. Over there, you'll find more still shots, more information, a complete list of supplies, as well as some information on a giveaway that Pinkfresh Studio is doing for their 10th birthday. There is a free press plate available for all orders, $50 and up while supplies last. And I'm sharing some information on a blog hop and some giveaways there too. So be sure to head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com to check out all that information. Thank you so much for being here. I am so glad you're here. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notifications so you don't miss any of my paper crafting and card making video tutorials. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.